What is up, guys? Orbital-Pilot back here once again in the world of Warthunder, this time taking the sky in the Bf-109 G2 Tropical. Now, this is a plane that's loved by most of the Warthunder community, and I really never flew it out. It never really mattered to me that much. I always had the F4, and I've been flying out the G2 as of late, and although I still think I prefer the F4, I'm going to let this get fully upgraded before I make that final decision. So this is a first introduction for this, a first review of this plane. So it is fully stock, nothing is upgraded, and I'm not carrying the extra cannons. Obviously, they're not. I haven't bought them yet. The plane isn't upgraded. So at the end of the tech line in this plane, you can get 2 more 20mm cannons, and I would highly suggest it. This plane desperately needs it. Although the cannon will work, I think the 2 extra 20s are well worth the actual loss of maneuverability. So right here, we can see that although my shots aren't perfect, they are hitting at least most of them. But that's just the P-47. It's just a beast. My ping is perfect. My packet loss is 0%. So, I mean, the shots are getting through. The jug is just ridiculously tanky. So, I go down here. I'm going to follow him. The P-47 will outrun me in a straight line, and it will dive faster than me. But in a drag race, they're actually pretty evenly tied. Sadly enough, in a dive, however, he will get away, like I said. But this is definitely something that you have to keep in mind. Now, I'm going to make this interesting. I know the P-47 won't catch me, so I'm going to go right back up for the F4U. Now, if I was in a fully upgraded G2 or an F4, I would have far more energy. I actually might have got the kill. But like I said, this plane isn't upgraded, so the energy, actual retention, is just kind of lacking, because the engine does not have all of its horsepower that it did in real life. So get a couple nice shots on the F4U. Sadly enough, however, he will get taken out. It's not going to be me. But the F4UC will dive just as quickly as this, and in a straight line at sea level, it will get beat out by the G2, luckily enough. So, we're going to go back down. F4U chasing a ME-410, he desperately wants that kill. I don't know why. Although people seem to turn fight in the F4U, the G2 will beat it. It's something that you have to keep in mind when flying something like the F4U. And I do have a lot more experience than these pilots, most likely. I mean, I didn't check their levels. But the F4U, things like the P-51, I most likely have quite a bit more experience. So although I may not be like a better pilot, I have been in more situations, most likely, than these people. So this stuff is, I mean, you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, you'll understand in a second. But P-47 flying out, like I said, I'll never catch him. And this is kind of where I screwed myself over. Or where at least I thought I screwed myself over. So, P-51's, 3 of them, and a Spitfire up high, along with the P-38 that you cannot see. Against a Focke-Wulf 190, a P-47, both down low, and of course me, which is also at sea level. Now, believe it or not, the Bf-109 is actually the best plane out of these 3 at sea level. I will be able to climb the fastest, and I have the best maneuverability. And now that the P-47 got taken out, it is the F-8, which is, honestly, it's one of my least liked planes. At sea level, doesn't climb very fast, doesn't maneuver very well. And you have me, 95 shots of cannon ammunition, and, well, hopefully some luck. So P-51 flies above. Don't do anything. It's not going to be worth it. Right now, I'm simply gaining speed and altitude and waiting to see what he does. Depending on what he does right here is where I can tell his skill level, and that's something you really have to do if you're in a situation like this. If you're outgunned, you're outmanned, and honestly, you have I'm in a far worse position than him. I'm low, I'm fairly slow, and he has way more teammates than I do. So P-51 coming in from the top. Like I said, wait to see what he does. Right now he's being smart. He's going to track down and look for the easiest person to target, and that's actually going to be the F-8, not me. Now, I'm not sure how good the F-8 pilot is. He's probably fairly decent because he has managed to stay alive this long. But P-51 starts to come down. At first, it looks like he's going for me, but he actually switches off, and that's where a second P-51 comes in. Now, this tier, it could be both a machine gun version or a cannon variant. You actually want the cannon variant, although it does have far superior firepower, at least in my opinion. The cannon variant is worse. It has a less powerful engine, and it turns, in my opinion, just a little bit worse than the machine gun variant. That, however, is the machine gun variant. Now, I get some really nice shots off right there. That's something that if I had the plane fully upgraded and had the 2 extra cannons, I probably would have killed that guy. Now, put a couple more shots into him, but the F-8 just blows him out of the sky. Although the F-8 doesn't have a lot of things going for it right now, its massive armament is probably one of those things. So, now I have lost speed, I've lost more altitude, but at least one of the P-51s is gone. Now, I believe the P-51 that is remaining is a cannon variant, but like I said, there is another P-51, there is a Spitfire, so we are going to have to be quite careful on how we manage to do these next couple engagements. Now, the P-51 pilots are doing it wrong. I'm doing it right, excuse me. Don't get me wrong here. He's going back up for altitude, he's not turning, but there's a couple things I know about the P-51, especially that early cannon variant. Although he may be playing right, I know the engine performance on that thing is not that great, especially in the vertical. So when he does stupid stuff like this and turns with the F-8, it is not going to end well. He's going to slowly, and I say slowly, he's going to slowly start gaining less and less altitude. And that is what he did right here. Although he is outrunning me, and the F-8 is just going crazy with those cannons, he's not too much higher than me, which is surprising because the G2 is a really good plane. And this is a good pilot. You can see he didn't take it straight up in the vertical. He took a long, kind of more horizontal path, and that's simply to gain as much altitude as he can. I was impressed, especially for a pilot at this tier. That's fairly smart flying. It's basically what I would have done, although I wouldn't have turned with the F-8 down there. That was a dumb decision. So P-51 flying in, I know there's more teammates, so I'm trying to be really careful. Now, this plane will ride on WEP, and it is far more powerful with WEP on, but it will overheat. So keep that in mind. Now P-51 comes in. Now this actually may be, I don't know, I've lost count at this point. And this was almost where I ripped my flaps off. I have a really bad habit of doing that, but for some reason this P-51 comes in and starts dogfighting a 109. Not recommended, and I believe that's also a cannon variant. Too many P-51s, I've lost count at this point of which ones is which, but the P-51 is not flying smart. The other pilot was far better, although he does get the upper hand on me right there. That, I don't know how, but he starts to go and do just random maneuvers. Now he's not even trying to scissor, he's just simply turn fighting. Not something I would recommend. Now, if my stupid engine wouldn't be basically pumping magma through its fuel lines, it might be going better for me right here. It's simply too hot. I cannot use WEP when I really need it. And sadly enough, that's most of the battle. So, get a couple shots off, very narrowly miss him. I'm using combat flaps when I need to turn, and I raise them when I'm trying to gain speed. Now right here, I'm not sure if he was on drugs, but this is the wrong thing to do. Straight up the wrong thing to do. You should never put your plane in a stall with a 109 behind it, because you will most likely get outplayed. Yeah, and that's the end of that P-51. So, I very narrowly miss another P-51 coming in. I know there's like P-51s all over the sky, but now it's going to get interesting because I believe that's the same pilot, and he is quite decent, like I said. But the F-8 is pretty much done for. My engine is just absolutely toast. It is basically boiling over. Well, it is 212 degrees, so the water is boiling, and the P-51 is right on my tail. I have no more altitude to play with. I have 37 cannon shots. It's going to be a little bit rough. And here's the thing. When you have no teammates, you have to find the most likely candidate. Now, if I was alone right here and I didn't have that single 109 remaining on my team, I would have done the exact same thing, but it probably would have taken a lot longer. You have to get him on your terms. You have to turn the tide of the battle. Not by shooting him down, but basically by setting him up on your own terms. You can't fight a P-51 on its terms. He's going to have more energy, more altitude, and he will win. But if you slowly drag him down like this and fly towards your teammate, you should be able to get him down. Now, right here, I just keep on simply ducking below him. He knows that if he tries to go for me, he will pancake, and, well, he'll die, of course. So the P-51 is flying correctly, he's going back up for altitude, but every single time he turns in, I do the exact same. Basically, I am simply mirroring his every move. Now, if there were two planes, it would obviously be harder because I would have to mirror both of them, but with one plane, it's really easy to actually dodge a boom and zoomer, which is kind of what makes the tactic in the P-51 so much harder. Every time he goes up, I go up. Every single time he turns left, I turn left. It's simple mirroring, and it really, really comes in handy right here. But now he's become really, really desperate. He's resorted basically to turn fighting, something that is going to get him killed. Well, yeah, killed right there. So, as we can see, although you may be in a worse position, there's really always a way out, especially if you're in something like the 109, which is absolutely amazing. So guys, let me know what you think about the G2 down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Tell me some experience that you've had in it, and I will talk to you guys next time. If you guys wouldn't mind, if you're new, hit that like and subscribe button. You guys know how much it helps out, and I'll see you guys next time.